welcome back to this edition of Company Profiles. While Choppies is well known in Botswana, it's also making waves further south. It sees South Africa as the new frontier. It has 9 shops already under its belt in the country, and its bullish approach to the market should see it open another 120 stores in the next 5 years. Its Rustenburg store already brings in 21,000 feet through its doors on a weekly basis.
This is our Choppies Rustenburg store. We're currently employing 140 employees in this supermarket. Size is about 2,200 square meters.
This is Dion Baumeister, the CEO of Choppies South Africa. With 11 years' experience in the retail sector in various African countries, he has extensive knowledge of how the retail game works in both South Africa and Botswana.
We tend to find that the bigger stores actually do better for us. Much more space, much more variety, just a much more pleasant shopping experience. And then our basket size is just over 100 Rand in the shop, which is very high if you compare our average basket being 66. So this store actually helps us out quite nicely. Yes, and it's been a success story. This has basically put us on the map in terms of both customers, suppliers, talking about Choppies within the South African operation and not always trying to refer to Botswana. So this has really established us in the market.
In his offices behind the store in Rustenburg, a map on the wall looks like a pincushion. It visually represents Choppies' aggressive expansion plan in South Africa. The red pins show stores already open, yellow ones indicate stores that should open in the next year, and the green pins are markers for sites that will house stores in the medium term. While the various coloured pins battle for space on the map, the founder of Choppies, Mr. Ismail, says that they were chosen for very specific reasons.
You see, the reason we started off in the Northwest Province is closer to home. The Tswana speaking, the trading, the conditions are very similar to trade in Botswana. So it was quite easy to get into the market. We did, and I must admit we were very well received in the Northwest Province. And as we move forward, I'm sure we'll do very well because now that we've broken the barrier. And there is a gap in the market that organized trade. There's a huge gap in the market, in the lower to medium LSM market. There's a huge gap.
If you look at the strategy of Choppies expanding into South Africa, they're expanding into areas which have been very carefully chosen. They are expanding along the distribution route which they had. Which they still have in terms of sourcing, the items that they still source from South Africa, and along that distribution route, the demographics, are exactly the same as in Botswana. If you look at the Northwest and the Limpopo, mainly Tswana-speaking people, and that's the demographics that Choppies has grown to understand very, very well. So I have no doubt that in the markets that they have taken, they will continue to, to be as aggressive and as successful as they have been in Botswana. Some of the names that they will meet up as competition in those areas are exactly the same names that they have competed with and beat very handsomely in the Botswana market. So, I, for one, as a new shareholder of Choppies, have faith that they will actually be successful, particularly in South Africa.
But transplanting a Botswana approach into a different market hasn't been without its challenges.
From an initial point of view, you battle with volumes, critical mass, suppliers initially not taking you as serious this side of the border as opposed to that side of the border, even though you're the same business, it's different geographical or different countries for that matter. So, initially different rules would apply up until such time that you are established and have critical mass, and they would actually consider you as part of your bigger basket, if I can call it that. We basically brought the Botswana model across to South Africa, so we need to adapt to the South African market as we are doing on a daily basis. Our fruit and veg, our takeaways, our butcheries, our bakeries have gone through some significant change if I take from where we started to where we are today. You know, and that in itself, we're also trying to bring up the contributions of these departments because they're running on higher margins. That's just part of the strategy in terms of becoming more profitable.
Even what consumers choose to put in their shopping baskets is different depending on what side of the border you are on.
Well, you get... the South African market is a much more convenience market, whereas the Botswana market is much more traditional. If you look at the basket in terms of the Botswana basket is only, on average, it's about 50 pula, whereas we're running on a basket size of about 66. You know, that in itself is also just a sign of customers. Even though Botswana, you would also find the difference where the bigger pack sizes tend to be the better sellers, like on your commodities, like in Botswana, a 5 kilogram rice and a 5 kilogram sugar would be your top selling item, whereas in South Africa, it's your 2 kilo rice and your 2.5 kilo sugar. So in that already, there's a significant difference.
But differences and challenges aside, the brand has a foothold in the country and only expects to expand further by setting up supportive infrastructure in the area. One of the reasons the group held the initial public offering in Botswana was to raise 115 million pula to fund its bullish approach to the South African market.
We would like to get our South African infrastructure set up properly, and that should be the springboard to expand into other African countries. That's our primary objective. There's a warehouse and distribution center going up there, and we should be up and running with that warehouse by June, July. So that always gives us an opportunity to grow further into Africa.
This is the construction site of Choppies' new distribution centre. It's over 10,000 square meters big, and when it's done, it will house over 1,000 products ready to go out to the rest of South Africa.
Amongst the products that will be put on trucks and distributed to Africa's biggest economy is the Choppies house brand items.
We've got quite a significant range on house brands at this stage. Obviously, you focus on the items where you can move a lot of volume. The margins on these products are better because you're taking out that marketing cost out of the product. So, you know, and our strategy is to, yes, we take part of the margin, but we pass on part of that margin to the consumer to offer them value for money. And based on that, we then target certain key categories. At this stage, we're running at percentage to sales is about, in South Africa, it's 5%. And we are in the process, it's an ongoing process to expand that range.
One of the ways that Choppies is able to keep their costs down is by putting products under a house brand. This UHT milk that they have on the shelf here is their latest product offering. And with around 35 products already under the house brand and room to expand, Choppies says consumers will continue to be happy.
And more customers will have smiles on their faces if this Botswana brand manages to reach their expansion plans in South Africa.
The 5-year plan is definitely 150 stores. That is our target. In the next year, as mentioned also before, that, you know, it takes time. It takes time to get all these sites lined up and all the locations and getting the contractors to deliver on time. So, you know, at this stage, we've got 9 stores. This year, we're planning to open 11 stores. Within the next 2 years, 20 stores, and the 5-year plan is to get to 150 stores. This would, at this stage, we've got 58 sites on our cards, which we're looking at, which is short to medium term, and then that excludes any acquisitions. So, you know, with a growth rate, which I've just mentioned, you can't just open stores. I mean, if you look at the success rate in terms of the timing, just to open stores from scratch doesn't, you know, it would be very challenging. But when you start acquiring, it becomes easy.
So while Bauermeister gets back to work on increasing Choppies' market share in South Africa, back in Botswana, big plans are being made about the future of the company.
Currently, we have something on the table that we are negotiating in Tanzania, and we should know in the next 3 to 4 weeks where we're heading. You know, so that one, there's a firm offer put on the table for Tanzania, and then Zambia, we've had a few opportunities we're looking at as well. Mozambique, we're looking at. So hopefully some of them will come to fruition.
The tally of countries where Choppies will give customers value for their money is only growing. From the opening of the first store in Lobatse to owning a total of 58 stores in 2 countries to the listing on the Bostwana Stock Exchange, Choppies has only gone from strength to strength. And with whisperings of a possible listing on the Johannesburg Securities Exchange in around 2 years' time, the Botswana listing seems to have been a springboard into many great things.
We've come to the end of this edition of Company Profiles. From me, Bronwyn, Seaborne, and the team here in Gaborone, it's goodbye for now.